Generational curse is not that somebody has laid a curse on your generation. If you still believe that generational curse means that somebody has cast a spell on your generation and you need to pray yourself out, then you see that particular generational curse that you believe to be existing in your generation, it will continue to exist. Because generational curse is not somebody casting a spell. It is ignorance playing itself out in every single generation that comes. Generational curse is you ignoring the pattern that has been repeating itself in your family. Your parents repeated that pattern. Their own parents did the same thing. The people that gave birth to their own parents, like that. I don't need to lay it out for you to understand. But generational curse isn't somebody casting a spell. It is misdirected energy. It is misdirected energy. It is ignorance playing itself out again and again in different generations. And for you to be able to break any generational curse, yes, it is not a spell, but you can break it. It's for you to be able to see the pattern. It's for you to be able to break the pattern. A lot of people are wasting their time sitting in spiritual houses looking for solution, thinking that somebody took their time to go cast a spell on them, on their lineage, thinking that their life is the way it is because of a spell. There is no spell. There is only ignorance. There is only pattern. And your parents ignored this pattern because they were ignorant and they repeated it. And they passed it down to you. And you're about to repeat it, or you're already repeating it. And instead of doing the needful, instead of actually breaking this pattern, you are sitting down somewhere looking for solution. You're praying for solution. And I'm not even saying spiritually, religiously, praying for solution. When I say religiously, I had to laugh. Something in me just... because you're actually going into the same place or to the same people that created this pattern. But that is not what I'm here to talk about. So does generational curse exist? Yes, it does. But it is not a spell. It isn't a spell. It is a mindset. It is a level of awareness. And I always say that I believe Africa, especially Nigeria, to be under a curse, which is pattern. We will be repeating pattern. We would like to say, oh yeah, maybe a curse or something was cast on us, like a spell, sorry, not a curse, because a curse, yes. A spell was cast on us, and that is why, our country is the way it is. Yes, a spell, but not in a spiritual sense. I don't believe that anything was done spiritually. I believe it's just the way they have conditioned our mind. It is a psychological warfare. It is how they have been able to capture our mind, how they have been able to hijack our mind over generations, how they've been able to control the way we think, what we believe in, what we associate ourselves with. That is the cause, that is the spell. And for us to break out of that particular cause or spell is for us to become aware of who we are, of what we can do, of the power that we possess. And then we can break out of that cause. Because it is just us repeating patterns that our parents have repeated. That's us here in Nigeria. I'm talking about Africa or Nigerians. It is us repeating patterns, believing in the same thing that our parents believed in, that their own parents believed in, and detaching or deassociating ourselves from our ancestors' belief system, calling it demonic, disconnecting ourselves from it, and worshipping what the colonizers has, introduced us to. That's the cause. That's the spell. So yeah, back to individuals. If you want to break out of your generational curse, stop repeating patterns. Stop repeating patterns. Stop living your life ignorantly. If you want to break away from the pattern that your parents repeated, all you have to do is become aware of it. All you have to do is observe and pay attention to it. Are you thinking the way they think? Do you believe in the same thing that they believe in? Because if you still do believe in what your parents believed in, your parents, I'm not talking about your ancestors, because for now, a lot of us believe our ancestors to be demonic. I'm not talking about your ancestors. I'm talking about your parents and their own parents, the ones that you met. Do you believe in the things that they believe in? Because if you do believe in the things that they believe in, you think the way that they think, you still associate yourself or receive advice from these people, then you're going to repeat the same pattern. If you've not been asking the real questions, if you've not been asking questions, if you've not been allowing yourself to be curious, if you've not been allowing yourself to accommodate more informations, if you're not been allowing yourself to think for yourself, like allowing yourself to think, not in a group context, but in individual context, like you yourself, think for yourself, not from what you have been told or what you have been taught. Think for yourself. If you have not been doing these things, you're going to subconsciously repeat the same pattern, which is generational curse, successfully repeating itself. And you're just going to subconsciously pass down this to your children. That's if you're going to bring it into this world, which you're not supposed to do if you're still under generational curse, if you're still repeating the patterns that your parents did. You're not supposed to bring a child into this world because you're not ready. You're just going to repeat the same pattern and pass this down, and they are going to do the same thing and pass this down. And that is what generational curse is. That's the simplest way to understand generational curse. Nobody has laid a curse or cast a spell on you, like spiritually. Nobody has done that. Nobody can, or nobody has the power to do that. What is happening is that your mind has been hijacked. Your belief system has been hijacked. Your everything about you has been hijacked, and you're just subconsciously repeating what you were told, following the same path, repeating the same pattern. And that's the type of generational curse that you're under. Break away from that pattern. Do you know how I've been breaking away from my own pattern? I just look at what my parents did and I do the opposite. In fact, not just my parents. I look around my environment. What 80% of people are doing, I do the opposite. What 80% of people believe in, I believe in the opposite. What 80% of people are trying to achieve, or the path that they are working on, the path that they are following, I go a separate way, a different way. That is how I've been successfully breaking away from patterns. That is how I have been successfully breaking away from generational curse. Not following the crowd, but following my own inner voice, following my own inner want and desire. Because I now know that the compass is within. The compass for my life, my path is within. It's inside me. It's not outside. Nobody can lead me. I alone can lead myself. So stop repeating patterns, and then you're going to break away from that generational curse.